All right, it is that time again on our cleveland.com Browns pregame show. We are back at First Energy Stadium. Dan Labbe with Branson Wright. We'll also have Tom Reed on and Mary Kay Cabot to preview the Browns and the Colts. And Branson, there is not a lot of optimism around this game. I think there was one person in our staff predictions. It was not me. It was not you. I believe it was Bud Shaw who picked the Browns to beat the Colts. Otherwise, most people, our staff, outside of our staff, aren't giving the Browns much of a chance.
I think even the biggest Browns fan would say the Browns are the underdogs today. This explosive offense by the Colts. I was going to say Oliver Luck, but Andrew Luck has been one of the top quarterbacks in the NFL this year. So the Browns are certainly the underdogs, and they certainly have an uphill battle. But anything is possible. I mean, this team has won games that they probably shouldn't have won, and maybe have lost games that they shouldn't have lost. So anything can happen. But like you, I picked the Colts to win this game. But anything can happen.
Of course, we got to talk about the quarterback position. Brian Hoyer is going to get the start today. No one's quite sure how long he's actually going to be in the game. In your mind, I mean, how short do you think Hoyer's leash is? Do you think Mike Pettin can handle staying with him through a little adversity early in the game? Or, you know, if Hoyer starts doing kind of some of the stuff we've seen over the last 4 weeks early, is that leash real short?
I think it's short, but not really short. I would think he would at least give him to the first half. I mean, if he has a couple of interceptions and the Browns don't score at all in the first half, then I think the second half you could see another quarterback, Johnny Manziel. So, right, not Connor Shaw. So I think it just all depends on how well Hoyer can play in the first half, which I think he's going to come out, and he has a lot of motivation. He has a lot to prove. So I think it's his time to shine. But if he looks like the Hoyer that we've seen these past few games, then I think for the third quarter you'll see another quarterback in.
Now, really, for the first time, he's going to have all his weapons at his disposal. Of course, Josh Gordon's been back for a little while, and Jordan Cameron back today as well. So that obviously works in the favor of Brian Hoyer. And they're not playing the Buffalo Bills' run defense. Now, Indianapolis's run defense isn't terrible, but it's certainly not what they faced last week.
Not at all, and you're right. They have to get the running game going, and that's has been helped to Hoyer all year long, the play-action pass. Having people come up and daring him to throw the ball, and then he can actually, get the passes off. So it's going to be interesting on how well the running game is today, because certainly the Colts, they look at film. They look at the same things we do. They know they have to stop the run and force Hoyer to throw the ball. So it'll really be interesting to see how this works out.
Other side of the football, Andrew Luck, obviously, as good a quarterback as you're going to find in the NFL, but also a guy that every now and again will make a head-scratching play. Can the Browns take advantage? Probably the biggest test the secondary has had in a while.
Oh, absolutely. They have to take a chance of that. And you were saying the chance on the Colts?
Well, I mean, Andrew Luck is a guy that every now and again will, maybe not make a head-scratching throw, but will try to do a little bit too much. And I just wonder if, like Joe Hayden, obviously no Tashawn Gibson, but we saw Jim Leonard come up with a pick last year. If they'll be able to maybe take advantage of that, one opportunity to kind of get a turnover here.
They'll have to do that. And Luck, as you said, sometimes he likes to take a little bit more chances than he should, but that's a sign of a good quarterback. Not just throwing out there to anybody, but trying to force it in there sometime when you see an opening, throws that he can make. But the Browns have to take advantage of any turnover they can get, and certainly Joe has to take a shot. I mean, you just can't sit back and be passive against a guy like Luck. So again, they have to take those chances, and we'll see what happens.
I'm looking at the division right here. I've got Cincinnati obviously leading, and
right
I do. They play Pittsburgh. So somebody's going to lose there. Baltimore's at Miami. So this is an opportunity for the Browns if they can win a game that not many people think they can win. But if they lose today, is that it? Is the string out?
No, it's not it, because if Baltimore loses today and if the Steelers lose today, then they still have a shot. Now Miami, who plays Baltimore, if they kind of get some momentum, they could sort of lock in that other wild card. But as far as the division's concerned, or that second wild card, it still will give them a chance. But you have to win. I mean, they can't think about depending on someone else as far as their destiny. They have to control it, and they have to win these games.
Do you think the most logical path is the division at this point because of the tiebreakers, because of the way things are playing out, and because they still have Cincinnati next week and they end the season in Baltimore?
Absolutely. I mean, what'll help them if Pittsburgh can beat the Bengals, and since the Browns have split with the Steelers, beat the Bengals here next week, Baltimore continues to lose, and then they have a shot at it. But again, it just comes down to what can the Browns do, and what they have to do is win the games that are in front of them.
What was your score for this one?
32-17 Colts.
That was about mine. I think I said 31-17. So you and I are thinking about the same thing about this football game. Okay, that's Branson Wright. We're going to take a quick break. We'll come back with Tom Reed and then Mary Kay Cabot on our live Browns pregame show. All right, and as promised, we are back. Browns pregame show. Tom Reed joining us now. And Tom, I talked to Branson about this. There's not a lot of people on our staff and not a lot of people elsewhere giving the Browns a chance in this football game against the Colts. But overall, looking at the playoff picture, either Pittsburgh or Cincinnati is going to lose today because they're playing each other. Baltimore plays at Miami. Because of those scenarios, are we at the point where kind of every game for the Browns is a must-win?
I think this one certainly is. I think I can't. I mean, they'd be mathematically alive, obviously, if they lose today. I just don't give them much of a chance if they lose today after this. If Cincinnati were to win, they would be a game and a half back. No, they would be more than that. They'd be like 2.5 games. They'd be 2.5 games, so the division would be gone pretty much. And you look at those wild card tiebreakers. Just now, they're at the bottom. So imagine another loss in the AFC. I just don't see how they could get in. I mean, they're just running out of games.
Is that how they have to get in, win the division? I mean, is the wild obviously, like you said, they'll still be in it, but with those tiebreakers, it seems like the division, because they still have 2 games left, Cincinnati and Baltimore after this game, of course, and then they have an NFC game against Carolina. It seems like the division is the most logical way to get in.
Yeah, they need to win today, and they need help. They need Pittsburgh to win, because then they would be a half game back. So, and with Cincinnati coming to town, and it's a whole different story. So, they've got to take care of their business first today, and if they can win here, they set themselves up. There's a lot of things set up this week if they win today. Brian Hoyer's going to be your probably quarterback the rest of the season, but again, it's a big mountain to climb today.
Let's talk about the quarterback situation. Brian Hoyer, of course, starting today, but what happens? What's it going to take for him to remain in that position through the end of this game? What does he need to do?
Oh, I think he's just got to play. He's just got to play better. I mean, there's no question. And they've got to hope that they can stay in the game. As long as it's a close game, he's going to be in there unless he gets hurt. I don't see them jockeying back and forth. I don't see Manziel coming in for a series. I think they're going to give Hoyer this chance. I don't think you want to disrupt the flow. I think now if they fall behind and he starts throwing picks, then all bets are off, and then you could see Manziel in the second half again.
There was a report that we wouldn't see the Johnny Manziel package earlier today. You seem to think the same thing, at least based on your answer just now. But, I mean, do you think there is a chance that if they get in the red zone, maybe Manziel would come in, something like that?
Yeah, and you know what? Hey, it's desperation time. We're not talking about early in the season where what's this going to do for the rest of the year to Hoyer's confidence. It's like baseball, it's like Johnny Allstaff at this point. Whatever can get you to that next victory, you do it. So I don't think we're going to see it, but I wouldn't be surprised at the same time if they decide to do that. Everyone has to just kind of, put their ego to the side right now and do the best for the team.
Second best news of the week that Brian Hoyer got this week was, of course, Jordan Cameron playing today. So he'll finally kind of have all those weapons at his disposal. What does Cameron do for this offense, especially with Josh Gordon out there now?
Well, maybe it takes the blinders off the quarterback and the coordinator, because to me, they've been throwing the ball way too much to Josh Gordon. I know that sounds crazy, but to me, the offense hasn't been as good with Josh Gordon in the offense. And that's not true, but the way they've relied so heavily on Gordon, and, it's led to a couple of interceptions. I'd like to see Taylor Gabriel get back into the mix. He was so good give you a deep threat. I think that he needs to spread the ball around a little bit more, and Cameron in there should help that.
I did mention that he has his full stock on offense, but of course no Miles Austin. But maybe that is the opportunity now for Taylor Gabriel to kind of get back in that receiver rotation.
Yeah, he had been such an effective player for them. Didn't drop balls, but he's only been targeted twice the last 2 weeks combined. So I would like to see a little bit more of him. But whoever he's throwing to, he's got to be a little bit more accurate than he's been over the last 3 or 4 weeks.
Is this the stiffest test that this defense has faced in a while?
Oh, without question. I mean, without question. You look back, I wrote today about how well they have, they lead the league in interceptions, pass defense, quarterback percentage. I mean, but look at who they've played over the last 7 or 8 weeks. That is not exactly a murderer's row of quarterbacks. This is by far the best quarterback they've played probably since Roethlisberger in Week 5. I mean, Matt Ryan has been a pretty good quarterback at times. Andy Dalton, you never know which Andy Dalton you're getting, but this guy is right among the best in the league, and it's a great group of wide receivers, and they're going to have their work cut out for them.
What was your pick for this game?
Colts 27-17.
All right, a lot of double-digit picks I'm seeing. Not a lot of confidence in people in this Browns team. Of course, it's justified. What needs to happen in your mind for those picks to be wrong?
A couple of interceptions, a couple of turnovers, and you've got to try to, again, spread the ball around, and hopefully for them, these aren't the Bills. This is not a heavy defense that they're playing today. Maybe they can get the running game going a little bit, keep the quarterback, keep Luck on the sidelines for a little bit longer, eat up some clock, eat the game away, and keep it close, and then, Hoyer is good at the end of the games. You say that, the last drive, if the game's on the line, he's been very good and kind of hope to win a game like that.
All right, that's Tom Reed. We'll be back momentarily with Mary Kay Cabot here on our cleveland.com pregame show. Last leg of our relay, Mary Kay Cabot on our Browns pregame show here live from First Energy Stadium, the Browns and the Colts. Mary Kay, not a lot of confidence from folks in the Browns today. You look at the playoff picture, though. Steelers and Bengals are playing, so that's obviously good for the Browns, especially if Pittsburgh wins. And Baltimore's got a tough game, too, against Miami. They're going to be shorthanded for the rest of the season with Nagata being out, suspended. So there is an opportunity if the Browns can figure out a way to win this game.
Yeah, and you know what? I don't think that it's a lock that the Colts are going to win this game. There are a lot of things that you can look at here. First of all, Jordan Cameron's back. I think that really helps the Browns. Josh Gordon is back for his 3rd straight game, and he's been working really hard. He should be way more up to speed than he was in the first couple of games. With Avonte Davis out for the Indianapolis Colts, Brian Hoyer should be able to hit some big plays downfield to Josh Gordon. Now you've got to account for Jordan Cameron, too. And there's just, this can be an explosive offense if they get it rolling. A lot depends on the running game. Isaiah Crowell is active today. So if the Browns can get that running game going and get the ball to Jordan Cameron and Josh Gordon, there are opportunities to win this game. The other thing to look at are the turnovers. The Colts fumble the football, and Andrew Luck also throws interceptions. He hasn't thrown many. He only threw 2 in November, but I'm talking to Dante Whitner. He talks about he only has 11 this year, or not only 11, but he's got 11 this year. But he said players have dropped 11 to 15 more. So the Browns are looking to turn the ball over today.
Now, they do have mostly their full complement of receivers back. Mostly, I say, because Miles Austin is out. But one of the guys who's kind of lost playing time since Josh Gordon came back is Taylor Gabriel. Are we going to see him kind of reemerge with Austin being done?
Yeah, I think so. I think they'll roll those guys through there. And Taylor Gabriel has made some really big plays this season. So I think you'll see some of him. I think you'll see big plays from Andrew Hawkins today with Miles Austin out. He's going to be sort of the go-to guy, I would think, on third down. He moves more into that role now. So there are going to be opportunities there. Now, the key is they have to keep Andrew Luck and that high-powered offense off the field as much as they possibly can. They're averaging a league-high 31.8 points per game. This is the #1 offense in the NFL. But you know what? The Browns' defense is playing very well. If they can get that pressure on Andrew Luck, get him off that mark, and get their hands on a couple of footballs, they can win the game.
Let's talk about the running game. It struggled last week against Buffalo. Indianapolis is good against the run, not as good as Buffalo, though. Can they kind of get things going now again, and how much does that help Brian Hoyer if they can? Well,
it helps a lot, but the down to look at today is third down. The Indianapolis Colts are second in the NFL on third down. That's only one behind the Buffalo Bills. Now, the Browns have been horrible on third down. They're 31st in the NFL. So if you want to be able to stay on the football field, you have to convert your third downs. And again, like you said, the running game will be vital. So now Glenn Winston, we thought maybe he might be active this week. He's not. They've got Sean Drone, or however you pronounce that. It's his birthday today, by the way. Happy birthday, Sean. And so they've got their full complement of backs that they can roll through there. Isaiah is coming off a hip injury, but he should be okay. So yeah, they have to do that. They've got to get the running game going, but they've got to convert on third down, no matter how they have to get it done. Whether it's short passes out of the backfield, whether it's runs, whatever the case may be, that will be the key for them today.
Question of the day, of course, is the quarterback situation. How long is Brian Hoyer's leash? Does he have a half, a quarter? I mean, just how short or long is this thing?
Well, it gets very short if you throw interceptions. Forget about it. Throw 1 or 2 interceptions and you're going to be out of the game. The leash is short. We already know that because he got benched already last week. And he's not really, we also know that Johnny Manziel is the quarterback of the future. So it's just a matter of time before Brian Hoyer ends up in there. I mean, not in there anymore. They're going to go to Johnny, whether it's this year or next year. That's been the plan. They've been clear about that. We all know it. You don't pick a guy in the first round and not put him into the starting lineup at some point. So the leash is short, and it grows increasingly shorter with interceptions.
Are we going to see that Johnny Manziel package again today where he comes in for maybe a series in the red zone or something like that?
Well, you know what? That's one option. There's 3 ways this can go today. Brian starts and finishes the game. But Johnny Manziel comes in certain situations such as the red zone or whatever the case may be, or Johnny comes in and finishes the football game. So we're not sure exactly how that's going to go, but the Johnny package is always available. It's always on the table, and it's a gut feel thing. I don't think you can go into, there was a report out there this morning, they're not going to use the Johnny package. Well, you know what? You cannot say that with any certainty because you just never really know.
Yeah, they may be thinking they don't want to use it now, but as that game goes along, if they see an advantage there and they see an opportunity, Kyle Shanahan is going to go to that. What was your pick for today?
You know what? I picked the Colts to win 30-20 based on their high-powered offense, but I do think that it does come down to takeaways today. If you look at the Browns have 17 takeaways in their last 7 games. Now, of course, they've been giving it away at an alarming rate, too, mostly with interceptions. But if they can get those takeaways today, then they can win the game. Now, the Colts are -2, I believe it is, in the turnover differential. And it's pretty remarkable to still be 8-4 and be in the minus category in turnover differential. But that's the place where the Browns can win the game today.
All right, Browns and Colts kicking off at 1 o'clock. That'll do it for our cleveland.com pregame show. Thanks to Branson Wright, Tom Reed, and, of course, Mary Kay Cabot for joining us. I'm Dan Labbe.